Good evening, everyone. Good evening from London. Good evening from US. Good evening from UK. Good evening from Nigeria. Good evening from Paris. Good evening from wherever you're joining us from. I want to first apologize for the last Wednesday that was supposed to be here, but for a couple of reasons I couldn't make it. But trust me, that will not happen again for as long as this platform is concerned. Yeah, so welcome to our Wednesday webinars where we teach realtors, how to do what they want to do and do it better than anybody else, right? So the foundation for every conversation that every realtor wants to have is sales, right? So, but this platform will teach you more than sales. So I will always say that sales is as a result of a couple of activities, that you engage in. Sales on its own is an effect and not a cause. Yeah. So when you take care of the cause, the effect will naturally happen. So our conversation here is going to borders around those causes, so that you naturally have the effect that you want, which is sales, right? So if you're joining us, kindly let us know where you're joining us from, and then if you're joining us, also write in the comment section perspective. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about perspective. So if you're joining us again, let us know where you're joining us from, and then in the comment section you can write perspective. I will also encourage you to share and like this so that people on your platform can get this, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's move straight into today's conversation. Yeah, so I was having a conversation with one of my realtors, and she told me a story of how she got one of her biggest clients right now who has patronized her in the multiples of tens of millions of naira in terms of the commission that she got, but she has closed deals with this guy in the hundreds of millions, right? And then this same client is responsible for over 30% of her referral. And she said that the guy, told her when they started off their relationship, their business relationship, that initially he didn't want to deal with her. He didn't want to deal with her because somebody referred him to her, and he decided to check her up on her social media platform. And then her page on IG didn't look like that of a serious realtor. And so it took him some time. In fact, he left her, went to somebody else, had a failed transaction before he now came back to her, right? And said, okay, let me just try out this person that was referred to. I just excuse her, that maybe she doesn't know how to put herself together online, right? So, but the guy misjudged her from what he could see about her on Instagram. Now, this was before he even watched her post. This was before he watched her videos. He just opened her page and felt she was not serious, right? So what happened there was that what was told the guy about the lady, what he saw didn't match, right? The value of the lady didn't match with the perspective that the guy had, or the opinion of this realtor that the guy had when, he opened her social media platform. So I'd like you to think, just for a minute or two about possible prospects that have walked away, or that have, walked away from your platform simply because they checked your IG, they checked your TikTok, they checked your YouTube, or even your Facebook page, and you didn't look like somebody they can trust. You didn't look like somebody they want to work with, or they want to work with. You didn't look like somebody that could solve their problem even before they heard you speak. Right? Just give that a thought, because it has happened. The funny thing is that there is no way to track that because they won't tell you. In the case of Jane was lucky enough to have this guy come back to her after he had a failed transaction. So he could tell her that, see, your page didn't look serious when I met you. Right. So, but think of how many prospects that Jane would have lost, over time. And then think of how many prospects you would have lost too as a person over time, simply because your page didn't look like somebody that can be trusted. Okay. And so you understand that clients make up their mind about you before you even speak. I mean, it's a very general notion, right? Clients make up their mind about you. They form an opinion about you before you even say a word, before they even watch your content, before they even click on a video that you have made, right? And this has nothing to do with your qualification. This has nothing to do with your ability to deliver on the job. This has nothing to do with your years of experience. This has everything to do with the opinion they have about you before they hear you speak, right? So you understand that whilst a lot of realtors are busy making a lot of noise, I don't mean to, downgrade your activities, but whilst you're busy putting in efforts online and saying a lot of things to a lot of people online, you should look at the things that form an opinion about you that has nothing to do with your speech or the things that you say. You should fix that before you fix your content. Now, this is the truth. Yeah. Your silence sounds louder than your content, your videos, your testimonials, all of those things, right? Those silent clues that people come across when they come across you online, they are very loud. And so those things are the things that would decide whether a client or a prospect is going to stop while scrolling on their social media platform and pay attention to you. That is what would decide whether a client will want to watch your video, right? So you have a message to give to the world. You have something you want to say, right? But the guy is paying attention to your silent clues to decide if you are worth listening to, if your messages are worth listening to. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, so that is what we want to deal with today. We want to deal with what we call perception, right? The word perception. How do people perceive you? It's something you need to think of. It's something you need to fix if you've not done that. So a pristine study in Harvard found out that people make their first impression in under 1/10 of a second, right? So that people can look at you now and just decide or just form an opinion about you based on what they've seen, right? So in one of my classes where I was teaching how to do traditional marketing, I taught them that there is a part of the brain responsible for human alertness and security. It's called the amygdala, right? The amygdala is responsible for how you will respond to someone, if they walk up to you now and you were not expecting them to come to you, right? So the amygdala will tell you, okay, this person is safe, you should talk to the person, or this person is not safe, don't talk to the person. So when people don't respond to you when you walk up to them, there's a part of their brain that checks you out, checks your appearance, your tone, your approach before they and that part of the brain is what is responsible for how the person is going to respond to you. Same way, there are things responsible for, if somebody is going to respond, if somebody is going to engage you online, there are clues about you that when they see it, it will inform them whether they should click on your content or not. This is more important than your content, right? No matter how useful, valuable your content is, if you don't gain the right to be listened to, you will lose your message, because nobody will trust that you have something to deliver, right? So we say you look the part. You look the part, right? Okay, so I don't know if, yeah, it's something that we all do. You know, you must have formed an impression about somebody before the person even said a word. We all do that. I do that, right? And you do that too. And so you should know that people do that to you when they come across your content online. If you've ever judged somebody before they said a word to you, then understand that it's a natural phenomenon. Okay, so let's look at what perception is. Perception is a silent story people tell themselves about you before you say a word. Okay, it's about how you show up, it's about the outfit you're wearing, it's about the energy that you're passing. It has nothing to do with your capacity or your ability to deliver. It is all about what they think, right? And what they think, as long as business is concerned, is what determines if they are going to trust you or not. Right? So, please, if you're joining us, kindly let us know where you're joining us from, and also, write perception in the comment section, right? And also share, share this with your friends, share this with your community. If you're a realtor, you have my permission to go ahead and share. Okay. So back to what we're saying, right? So if you've ever judged somebody before, right, the notion you have about the person before the person speaks is what we call perception. And that is what usually decides how you will react to the person, the conversation you're going to have with the person. It determine. So a couple of times I've misjudged people before they even spoke, and so maybe I'll respond to them harshly or aggressively before they even, I already have an opinion that I don't like this person, right? So, and when they come close and I hear them talk, I'm like, oh, I made a mistake, right? Okay, so this person is actually good. I misjudged the person, right? So a couple of times we misjudge people, but you don't have the luxury of being misjudged as a realtor, right? You don't have the luxury of being misjudged. You want to be in charge of what people, what the opinion they have about you before you even say a word. This is why. If you are not in charge of that, if you are not in control of the opinion people will have about you before you say a word, they will generally form an opinion about you, right? And so you want to be deliberate about that, okay? So here's one of the reasons why perception pays you, why it's important that you take care of that aspect of your business, right? So perception influences trust. Like we've said here over and over and over again, if you look like somebody who is scattered, you're inconsistent, you don't look serious, people won't trust you. They won't trust you, right? And so perception influences trust. We say that one of the greatest assets in the industry as a realtor is trust. You want to be trusted. You want to be trusted. You will not do business if people don't trust you. They need to part with their money. Before they part with their money, they will need to trust you. I've had conversations with people, with clients who, from the get-go of the awareness stage, the entire conversation is on trust, right? Especially people in diaspora, right? Everything is bordered around trust for them, okay? Some of them have been beaten before. Some of them have not been beaten before, but they know people that have been beaten before, and so they are careful, right? So trust is one of the biggest assets as long as real estate transactions is concerned. In fact, trust comes even before credibility, right? So if you are not perceived well, you will not be trusted, right? And so understand that trust also, perception also influences credibility. Yeah, perception also influences credibility. Understand that. So people might not have time all the time in the world to go through all of your videos, to know everything that you have done, to check your histories and all of those things. They might not have that time. Like we said, decisions about perceptions are made in the 1/10 of every second, and that's pretty fast, right? So people might not have time to go through your content in details, okay? But then when they look at you, you should be able to, they should be able to tell, for instance, that you're credible, that you know what you're doing. And that happens with you too, right? So I had this experience with one of my friends a few days ago. We had a court case, and then we were to be in court, so we appeared in court. And then now this happens a lot whenever I'm in court, right? So I have a habit of rating legal practitioners based on their appearance, based on the neatness of their outfit. Some of them, you see, their outfit is worn out, that's changed from black to brown. I'll be like, this person is not a serious lawyer, right? But you see somebody who is properly dressed, clean. Most cases, they don't disappoint. Right? So as a realtor, you're meeting your client for the first time physically, and you're wearing a t-shirt and a slide. In this part of the world, perception is everything, right? Perception is a commodity, right? So you want to form an impression. I'm usually very careful about that, right? And you should be too. Okay, so sometimes you don't feel like wearing a particular outfit. But you should know that people will form an opinion about you the moment they see you. Right? So I don't have all the time in the world to hear you speak to me first before I decide what opinion. No, how the level of open mind, or how open-minded I will be, is determined by what I see within the first few seconds, right? So perception influences credibility, right? The other one is that perception influences negotiating power, right? So you must have seen that a particular realtor, two realtors are having a conversation about one particular property. And this realtor says this property is going for maybe $30,000, or is going for $100,000, or is going for $200,000, right? And his prospects is finding it difficult to see the value of that property. But another realtor comes on the same property and says this property is going for $250,000. Much higher than the previous realtor, and this same prospect doesn't have an issue with it, simply because of perception. Now, it has happened a lot, right? So I've had people say this property was mentioned to be at this price, and then when I get into the scene, I'm telling you, this property you're saying is valued at maybe 100 million naira, is valued way more than 100 million naira, and then I'll start having conversations with you, and your entire notion would change. Right? Perception is a commodity. So your ability to negotiate to a large extent is determined by how the prospect sees you before you even say a word. Understand this, right? Your ability to close a deal and sell is determined by a lot of things, but perception opens the door for that conversation, right? It opens the door for you to have an opportunity to start nurturing people up before you close a deal, right? Okay, so the last one is that perception influences your response rate. And so you're posting content online, people are not responding to it, people are not saying a word to you. It could just be because of the perception they formed about you. You're not a serious person. And you can't be trusted. You don't have the credibility. Meanwhile, you're serious. You're posting content. Meanwhile, genuinely in your heart, you can be trusted because you want to help people, right? But if they don't perceive you to be professional and sharp, they won't deal with you. They won't come into your DM to say hi. You understand, right? Okay, so it tells us that we're not being judged by the state of our heart. We're not being judged by the state of our heart. We're being judged by our presentation, what we present, right? So God looks at the heart, but man looks at the physical appearance. You understand that, right? Okay, so back to what we said initially, if you don't shape that perception intentionally, people will form a perception about you, and it's quite dangerous to your career. It's quite dangerous to the efforts that you're putting in. Okay, so in the issue of perception, it is okay to understand that your result is not what speaks first. It is your presence, right? So we're going to look at four major elements that are responsible for how you are perceived. Number one is clarity. Number one is clarity. When people come across you, or when they come to your page, or when they ask you, what do you do? Can they, between 1 to 10 seconds or 1 to 20 seconds, decide whether you are someone who can solve their problem or not? Whether you are meant to solve their problem, whether you are meant for them, right? So every doctor does not heal all, or if they heal, every doctor does not treat all sicknesses, right? Every realtor cannot close all transactions. No, you can't. You really can't. There are businesses that are specifically tailored for you in the real estate industry, right? And so when people come across you, can they say within the first 10 to 20 seconds that this guy is the person I'm looking for, or this guy is the guy that can solve my problem? Yeah, and this is usually determined by what they see, or the things that you have written, or the things that you say within the very few seconds that they meet you, right? And so when a realtor says, when you say, I'm a real estate agent, right? I'm a real estate agent, I help people buy properties and sell properties. That conversation or that statement is entirely different from when somebody says, I'm a real estate agent, I help people or diasporas in the US buy properties in Nigeria, or buy properties in Lagos, or I'm a realtor in Nigeria, I help Nigerians in the UK buy properties in Nigeria, or I help them in land banking businesses in Nigeria, or I'm a realtor, I help people buy luxury homes in Lekki, Lagos, right? When I come across these two descriptions, and I'm a Nigerian in the UK looking for a realtor who helps people buy properties in Lagos, I'll quickly jump at you faster than I would jump at somebody who says, I'm a realtor, I help people buy properties. You understand, right? Because that conversation about what you do and where you do what you do shows me that you have some level of specialty and skill, dedicated and committed to that particular space. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, so number two is consistency, right? So people form an opinion about you based on how consistent your content is, how consistent your appearance is. So on social media, for instance, on Facebook, you have your profile picture. Your profile picture is a corporate outfit with a tie, for instance, on Facebook. But on Instagram, your profile picture is a native. And then on your WhatsApp, your profile picture is a t-shirt, right? With different statements. That's inconsistency, right? So on Facebook, you're talking about real estate. On Instagram, you're talking about bed sheets and home appliances. On YouTube, you are talking about, something entirely different. you are inconsistent on the different touch points that people come across, and it influences their perception. So if you look like a white man on Facebook, you should look like a white man. If you look like if you're corporate on Facebook, you should be corporate on YouTube. You should be corporate on Instagram. If you're selling real estate on Facebook, you should be selling real estate on Instagram. You should be selling real estate on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and across all your platforms. Right? So if you're somebody you have multiple businesses. You have multiple businesses that you do. You don't just do one thing, you do the other, right? I will advise you to create multiple pages for those things. Create multiple profiles for those things, or design your bio in such a way that somebody comes across you and they know that, okay, hey, my name is Gosko. I deal on this. These are the things I do, right? Like if you go on some people's bio, you will see that they founded this, they founded that, they run this, they run that. And so you're not confused. Yeah? Okay. So consistency, right? Inconsistency is an indication that you can't be trusted. It shows that you're suspicious, and people don't trust suspicious brands. Okay? So now, credibility. Your credibility influences your perception, right? So when people come to your page, when people come across you, when they come across your touch points, can they say for sure that this guy is into this business and they've done this thing for some time, or they are genuinely into this? Let me give you an instance. Some of you just post content about your properties. You just post listings, but you never post inspections. You never post meetings with your clients, right? You just post only listings, and sometimes you just post only educational content. But people can't see behind the scene. They can't see you doing what you say you do. This helps them form a perception about you. So I've seen the property that you have to sell. I've seen the content educational content that you're giving up, but I can't see you do this thing. I can't see somebody else do this business with you. There are no testimonials about the business you've done with somebody else. You get that, right? So, and if it influences your perception, it determines whether people will deal with you or not deal with you. The last one before we go, before we move to the next, if you're joining us, please kindly indicate where you're joining us from, and also write perception in the comment section. And guess what? You have my permission to share this content across all platforms, as long as you're not doing it for profit, right? But you can go ahead and share, and send it to your team members. You can share it across your platform too. The fourth one is energy. The fourth perception determinant is energy. The energy you give out. Do you show confidence or you show desperation? Do you show dependability or you show desperation? In your conversations, the write-ups that you make, are you showing that you can trust me? I know what I'm doing. Do you show confidence or you show desperation? I need this thing right now. If you don't buy from me, if you don't buy right now, you lose out all the money in the world, right? Energy actually forms over 80% of your perception. Let me share a story with you, right? So we went for a property negotiation, and I sent one of my guys to go and have a conversation with them, right? And they went, had a conversation with them. They told this team that I sent them, but they turned them down, right? And said they were not going to give us this transaction, which was in the tune of over 300 million. And I was like, but we can deliver on this thing. So what exactly was the, they said that the feedback they gave me was that the owner of the company even refused to see them. I said, okay, let's have another appointment. I was going to go myself, and I went. Right? When I went there to have a conversation, I met the front desk, and she was saying, "Can you meet? Who am I looking for?" I said, "I wanted to talk with the person in charge." And she was saying, the person in charge. I said, "Are you the person in charge?" She said, "No." So who is the person in charge? They said I need to book an appointment. So while I was having that conversation, one of the senior managers walked down and saw me and said, "Who am I looking for?" I said, "I wanted to meet the managing director." He said, "If I had an appointment." I said, "No." I said, "I came with business. We've had previous conversation, but it didn't go down well." And he said, "Okay." So he wants to go and check if he's free. And if he's free, he's going to get back to me. If not, he will give me an appointment to come back. And luckily for me, the guy was free. We had a conversation, and then the deal was closed. Right? I like chicken. I like chicken wings from Domino's, and then I sent my driver to go and get chicken wings for me. They turned him down. I wanted 6 packs of 7 pieces each. They turned him down. They said they can't give him 6 packs of 7 pieces. I'm like, why wouldn't they give you? They said they didn't have enough. So I went there. And I was having a conversation with the front lady. She said she's not the person in charge. I said, "Who is the person in charge?" She said, "The manager is the person in charge." I said, let me speak with the manager. I spoke with the manager. The manager said they can only give me 3. I said, "Why 3? I buy chicken wings a lot and I want 6. He said it was not enough. And then I said, "Okay, fine." So I sat down, I ordered for 3. The guy came back to me and said, "Let's give you the 6 that you wanted. I can make an exception for you. Energy. You don't want to appear beggarly. You might not have all the money in the world. You might not even have money for the next meal, right? But you don't have to show it. Your conversations, your write-ups, right? Your videos, your bio should not show that you are begging, because you are not begging. One of the reasons why realtors have issues with traditional marketing is because they feel they are going to be rejected when they walk up to people. And like we said when we started, one of the reasons why you're rejected when you walk up to people is because, aside from the times when you're being insensitive. When I'm saying insensitive, when I say sensitive, I mean when you see somebody who is in a hurry walking to somewhere and they are in a hurry, you're approaching them, you're stopping them. Why are you doing that? Right? Aside from those moments when you are insensitive, right? The moments where you walk up to somebody and they reject you, 80% is because of the vibe you give out, because of the energy you give out, right? So before you even say a word, they have decided whether they want to have a conversation with you or not. You get that, right? Energy is important. Show up confident with your heads up, with a good smile, dress very well, and guess what? Most of the doors you knock on will open. Most of the conversations you have will pull through. Yeah? Okay. So these things I've mentioned are the things that help form a perception about you. Okay? Now, clarity. I'll run through them again. Clarity. How clear are you in your messaging, your bio, your picture, your everything about you? Can people make up their mind? Can people conclude that you are what they are looking for? Right? So consistency across board. Your messaging has to be consistent across board. Your picture has to be consistent across board, right? And then we talked about credibility. You need to show that you are doing this thing you say you're doing. Even if you're new in the industry and you've not closed a deal before, but you belong to a team that has closed a deal, that can form your testimony. And that's why I say realtors should not go solo. It's dangerous when you go solo for a lot of reasons. And one of them is because of what I just showed you. Right? Okay. So, and then the fourth one is energy. Energy, it is for me. Okay. So now let's talk about crafting perception online. Right? People meet you before they meet you. So they check your page. I've seen people, for instance, TikTok tells you when people view your profile, right? I've seen people view my profile on TikTok, but they don't follow me. They don't end up following me. The reason is because I'm not what they are looking for. I'm clear enough. My message is clear enough for you to know if I'm what you want on TikTok. Right? Okay, so people have viewed my profile on TikTok and they ended up following me after viewing my profile on TikTok. Right? They followed me because I'm what they are looking for. You get the message, right? So now, one of the major things that forms a perception about you on your social media platform is your profile picture, like we mentioned in previously, right? Is it clear? Is it warm? Is it professional? Right? You want your social media profile picture to match what you are selling. You don't. So a realtor recently approached me and said, I think one of my mentorship session said he wants to go into luxury. He wants to sell luxury properties as a niche that he wants to service. Right? I told him, you're new in the industry. You don't have a lot of knowledge. You don't have a lot of contact on your list. Don't go for luxury yet, because you don't even look the part yet. Right? Now, I'm not saying that but you have to look the part. You can't sell a property of 400 million, 500 million and above and you don't look it. Right? You don't look it. You don't speak it. You understand that, right? Okay, so your profile picture should be such, like I wrote here, your profile picture should at least have a clear face, have a clean background, you should have a confident smile, you should have a simple but professional outfit, and then you should make good eye contact. Check most of the realtors that you follow or that you like online. Take a look at their profile picture, what it looks like. It has all these things I just mentioned to you. You can't wear your wedding gown and put it on as your profile picture for a professional realtor. No, you're playing. Right? You can't go and wear a casual background, or you crop a picture. Maybe you were wearing suits and you took a picture with somebody else. You now cropped it out. No. Like we said when we started, you have to be intentional. Very intentional. Okay? So the second one is your bio. Your bio. What are you saying you do? Who are you saying that you are? Right? So, a template example that I have here is that you should have your target audience represented, a specific outcome represented, and the solution you're bringing to the table represented. For instance, I help first-time buyers own properties in Abuja without stress. As simple as that, right? But then your bio should say who you are, what you do, the solution that you prefer, and then the outcome that is expected, and possibly the location where it is. If you don't have these things, when people come to your page, they are confused about you. Guess what? They always check you out before they look into you. They always look into you before they have a conversation with you. Right? Okay, so let's make this faster. Your content. Your content is very important. So when people scroll through your social media content, they are looking for titles of what you're talking about, even before they click on the video. Right? So you have educational content, you have content that talk about your listings, you have testimonials on your platforms, right? But the goal for every content, like I will always say, is that you are supposed to sell trust subtly, in a subtle way, right? So I'll give you an instance. Client transformation stories should be one of the stories that you have on your platform. A short tips on buying land, documents, document types, property types should be on your platform. Behind the scene, like I mentioned initially, should be part of your content. Testimonials, It could be screenshots, it could be audio testimonials, it could be video testimonials, right? You can also give us a before and after of transactions, right? You can document a particular transaction from the time of the first inspection to when the property has been signed and the deal has been closed. Yeah, these are contents that sell trust subtly. Avoid content that make you look desperate. You understand that, right? Okay, so begging people to come and buy properties from you is not something you want to do online, no matter how desperate you are. Guess what? They see you as desperate, they won't want to deal with you. They'll just walk away from you. Okay, so if you're posting online, you're careful about, you see, like I said, every post should be intentional. Don't carry one random IPOB stuff and post on your platform. No, don't do that. You're not a newscaster, right? If you sympathize with IPOB, that's fine. But you're not casting news. You're selling properties, right? If you're posting IPOB, it has to be coined in such a way that it drives home a particular point. I can be trusted. If that is not the end game, you're wasting time. If you're posting family, if you're posting your family members, you're showing that you're human. The goal is to show that you're human, that people can relate with you, right? That you are a faithful husband, a trusted husband, you're a good husband. The whole idea is to show that you have a sense of family, and so people can deal with you. Don't go and post where you're drinking palm wine with your family members on the platform, right? That's a random post that has nothing to do with the perception you want people to have about you, which is that you can be trusted. Okay, so yeah. Now, one of the things I'm going to, as we round up, to tell you is that you should call a stranger or your friend, and probably a stranger if you ask me, and then show them your social media platform and ask them what they think about you. What is their candid opinion about you, right? And then they will tell you, and then you can make proper adjustments. So understand this before we move to the physical crafting perception offline. Understand that people don't make perception. The perception people have about you is not after they've met you, it's before they meet you. And so you want to give them an opinion about you before they meet you and before you say a word. Yeah? Okay, so let's talk about crafting perception offline, right? So understand that every time you walk into a space, every time you walk past a place, every time you walk into a room, there is an energy that you carry. There is an opinion that is being formed about you the moment you walk in, the moment you walk past. I mean, we've done this a lot, right? People just walk past and you'll be like, why is this lady walking like that? Why is she dressed like that? Why is she doing that? You are forming an opinion. And the same thing happens about you as a realtor. Some of you, when you're going for inspection and the client is in the same vehicle with you, right? You just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Meanwhile, you're meeting that client for the first time. You have had previous conversations with them, but trust me, they've not met you one-on-one. And their opinion about you can change entirely. So when you walk into a room, you are either helping people derive a positive perception about you or a negative one. Always know this, whether it is something you do deliberately or not. Right? Something I used to do before now, when I want to go out, I used to think of, sometimes I'll say things like, this clothes I'm wearing now is a waste of clothes. I don't want to wear it to this place because it's a waste of clothes, right? This place I'm going to does not match the clothes I'm wearing, especially if it's a casual. But guess what? You need to dress the part. You never can tell who you're going to meet. If you're going to the gym, wear your best gym outfit. If you're going to the club, for those of you that club, wear your best. If you're going to church, wear your best. If you're going for inspection, dress like inspection, but wear your best. Right? If it's not, if it's like Fela Drote will always say, if it's not dirty, but it's not clean, don't wear it. If it's not dirty but not clean, don't wear it. Right? So one of the things that shapes your offline perception is your appearance, the way you look. Right? So, and that's why we say that you should look the part. The other one is your presence, your posture. Right? Some of you sit down, you're folding your arms, you're looking down, you can't raise your head up, the world is against you, you're asking for pity, and all of those things. These things form perception about you. Right? So when you walk into a room, you walk into that room like you belong there. It doesn't matter the previous experience that you've had or not. When you walk into a meeting with a client and it's your first appointment, you walk in there like you own the deal. You walk in there like you're preferring a solution. You don't walk in there like you're about to beg for something. No. My conversations with my staff is always this. It's a mutual relationship. Nobody is doing each other a favor. You're not doing me a favor. I'm not doing you a favor. Right? The company is not doing you a favor. You're not doing the company a favor. We are exchanging value. And that's why we're here. At any point in time, we don't have value to exchange. One of us will walk away. Right? So if you're going for an appointment with a client, it's because you have value to offer. It's not because you want to beg for money. Realtors always do this a lot. I see this over and over again. And so if your benchmark for transactions has always been 50 million, if your benchmark for transactions have always been 100 million, and you're walking into a room where the transaction is $1 billion, walk in there like you're used to $1 billion, because the solution you're offering is that of $1 billion and above. Right? Because if you don't, people can easily smell, they can easily decide that this guy does not belong here. The way you talk, you don't talk like somebody who has done transactions of 100 million or $1 billion. You understand that, right? Okay, so your energy and your tone, like we said before, your energy is 80% of the perception that people will have about you, or what will decide the perception they will have about you. And your tone, even if you are not sure of what you're saying, say it like you're sure. One of the things that will help you with appearing confident in meetings is that you prepare very well. Confidence comes from preparation. I'm having this conversation with you and I'm talking to you like this because I've spent hours preparing and writing my notes for this training, right? So I have my training materials, but I have my training notes. And these notes, I wrote them down over 10 times. So I've spent hours preparing for this meeting. We have just 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to rush through this, right? And the other one is your network. Your network. You want to be seen with serious people. You want to be seen with people that are serious. You want to be seen with people that are heading to where you're heading to. You want to be seen with people who are affiliated with growth, who are affiliated with increase, who are affiliated with progress, right? So go ahead and find a way to fix yourself into that circle. Fix yourself into circles of successful people and make noise about it, so that when people come across you and you show them pictures of you with Niyi Adesanya, for instance, if you're in Nigeria, or you show them pictures with you with Tony Robbins, for instance, if you're in the US, right? They know that this guy is serious. They come across you, they see a picture with you and Fela Drote, for instance. They see a picture with you and the governor of your state, for instance. They see a picture with you and Gary, for instance. They know you're serious. Okay, so we are going to call it off here. So take care of those silent clues that determine the perception people will have about you, and trust me, it will increase the rate at which you're trusted, the rate at which people come, the response rates that you have, right? It will increase your credibility, and it will also increase your negotiating power. I'll see you again next weekend, next Wednesday. Cheers.